Hi, I'm Mike Turner, your friendly filmmaker, and today we're talking about the Canon R7. So, spoiler alert, I just bought the camera. I just said, forget it, I'm just gonna buy it. I have to have this camera, so I went ahead and I pre-ordered the Canon R7, despite the fact that it only has two lenses that are somewhat crappy, but not really crappy when you think about it. So today we're gonna take a look at the two lenses that are currently available. We're also gonna look at some of the options that are available for something like the Sony A6400/A6600 and how I'm gonna go about finding alternative lenses for the RF-S mount. Now, just so you guys know, I don't think I would ever buy the 15 to 45, excuse me, not even 15, 18 to 45 millimeter lens when you could get the 18 to 150 millimeter for just $100 more or whatever it is. Both lenses are very affordable. I believe one is $500, the other's $300. You buy it in the kit and you buy it with the camera together, you're gonna save $100. So you could do that, that's an option. I'm not gonna do that and I'm gonna tell you why a little bit later. But both of these lenses will have image stabilization built into them. Obviously they're Canon lenses, so you're gonna have all the great autofocus that works with that. The dual pixel autofocus, you'll be able to change your aperture settings and everything directly from the camera. And the image quality really on the kit lenses that I've gotten from Canon in the past, whether it was from my M50 that I used to own or it was from my Canon 70D, the quality is really good. It's just that you run into some problems when you're going into low light situations. So there is that. But really the 18 to 105, or excuse me, 18 to 150, is 18 to 150. That's a great range. That gives you a lot of latitude. So you can shoot things that are fairly wide and you can shoot things that are really far away with that. So now let's get into some of the better lenses that I bought for the Sony A6600 and my A6400. Now this is one of the biggest problems that I have. We're gonna start off with this lens, which is my favorite lens. This is the Sony Power Zoom 18 to 105 f4. So unlike the ones that I just mentioned, this one has a constant aperture. So when you zoom in and out, you don't lose any light. That is very nice. Now f4 is not the brightest, but for me, in a lot of situations, it's bright enough. Because when I'm shooting weddings, I always have lights set up anyway. There are some situations where people will step out of the light so it gets a little darker. But you know, with the Sony cameras, you can pump up the ISO to 6400 and it's still a good looking image. You can actually go a little higher than that and it's still a very usable image. So this winds up working pretty well. And then the power zoom feature is really nice because when I have this on a gimbal and you just flick this switch, you're not having to turn a barrel and shake up the camera. Whether you're on a gimbal, a monopod, a tripod, you don't have to turn things and shake things up. You could just go like this. It's just a lot easier. Plus, this is a fixed barrel. So when you zoom in and out, you notice nothing comes in and out. The barrel doesn't extend. So you can balance this on a gimbal, no problem. So I really love this lens and it's lightweight. It's really not that big. Great lens, my favorite. So right now, for the Canon R7, there is nothing like this that exists. Nothing. We're gonna talk more about the alternatives because I know some of you are saying, oh yeah, but just look into the RF full frame line. We're gonna talk about that. Just hold on. And then I'm not gonna go too much into all the lenses that I own, but I'm just showing you some of the highlight lenses that don't exist currently with the R7. This is the 17-70 Tamron lens. This is f2.8, so it's brighter than the one that I just showed you. Problem is the barrel extends, so you're not throwing that on a gimbal. However, it's f2.8. So it doesn't extend as long because it's not 105, it only goes to 70, but you get more light with this one. So this is great for my monopod work or throwing it on my B camera in a low light situation. It's really good. And you know, 70, going from 17 to 70 is a really nice focal range for an APS-C camera anyway. You get in a nice range there. So this works really good, great brightness. And then the other lenses that I use, I'm gonna show you a couple of them here. These are the Sigma. So you got the Sigma 16 millimeter. This is the 16 millimeter f1.4, which is a great lens. And here's the Sigma 30 millimeter f1.4 lens as well. And then I also have the 56mm, which I won't show you because it basically looks the exact same. So right now we're using that Tamron 17-70. And just so you know, this particular lens, if I want to get something like this for the Canon R7, here's the problem. It doesn't exist, right? We know this. So some would say, well, that's not a problem, Mike. Just go ahead and use a full frame equivalent on your camera, because you can plug in full frame glass onto the R7, no problem. Here's the issue with that. The only thing that exists is a 28-70 f2.8. That's the closest thing. So now it's 28mm as opposed to 17. So I'm losing some range on the wide end. So that already stinks. The second thing is you go from an $800 Tamron lens to something that is $2,400. That's a big difference. So if I don't need full frame glass, I don't want to pay the premium for it. And then that lens that I have, the power zoom lens, the 18-105, there just really isn't anything that is going to cover that kind of range. So they do have a 24-105 f4. That one is $12.99. And the power zoom lens is only $650. So again, you're basically paying double and you're losing the power zoom. And sometimes when it comes to the prime lenses, so something like that 16mm from Sigma that I showed you that I think will be popular with a lot of people, is there something like that for the RF system already? And yes, there is. I think there's a few from different manufacturers. But if you were looking to stay with Canon and have the full electronic controls, so you have electronic focus, you have electronic aperture controls, you would be looking at something like the Canon 16mm f2.8, which is only $299. So it's actually very inexpensive, but it's not as fast. So it means the aperture doesn't open up as wide as that Sigma 16mm, which is a little bit more at $374, but it's worth it for the price. All right, and here's another comparison. So how about the 56mm from Sigma? It's f1.4, and that one only runs for about $400. And I'm talking about on the Sony camera. So if you were trying to get something comparable on the Canon, you could look at the Canon RF, this is a full frame lens, 50mm f1.2, but that's $2,300, much more money. But hold on, there's also the full frame Canon 50mm f1.8, and that's only $175. So it's even cheaper than the Sigma. And yeah, it's not f1.4, but f1.8 to f1.4 is not really a big difference. So great, so now we're covered with prime lenses. But like I said before, the zoom lenses are the problem because that's what's really expensive if you're doing RF full frame. So here's what I'm gonna do to work around that. I'm going to buy this, the Canon adapter, so that I can use my older EF and EFS glass on the R7 camera. That's really the only workaround you have. That way I can use something like this. Oh, I'll grab a couple of these because I have a couple of Canon lenses. So these are EFS mount lenses. This is my 10-18, which is a really good lens. It's not very expensive, but it's great for getting those wide, like landscape shots of venues and whatever. This is great. You want to shoot a big room, show the whole room at once. That does a great job. And this is the kit lens. This is the older EFS kit lens, similar to that newer 18-150 that they have. This is the 18-135, which also has image stabilization, the STM motor and all that other stuff. So that's why I didn't order the newer lens, because I still have the EFS and it's just cheaper to do it that way. And then also I have a 24-105 f4 L glass lens too, which is full frame. So with those lenses, I should be fine. I should be able to do everything I need to do. And that's the plan going forward. Now, they have multiple adapters. You could get the one with the ND filter in it. I've read some bad reviews about it though, so I'm just gonna stay away. And then they have the one that has a little electronic ring on it that you can program to be aperture, ISO. It's a little bit more money. I think it's like $100 more than the standard one. I think I'm gonna stick with the standard one and just pay $100 and be able to adapt my older lenses. So I don't know, what are you guys gonna do? You guys looking to get this camera as well, the R7 or maybe even the R10? Love to hear it. What type of lenses are you looking forward to? What are some of your favorite lenses that you're using right now on your camera system? Make sure you subscribe. As soon as I get that Canon R7 in, you know I'm gonna do a lot of tests. I'm gonna test out the stabilization, the autofocusing. You know, we're gonna put it through the ringer and see what it does. I'm gonna use it at weddings. We'll see how it does in low light situations. We'll see how it does just for being on the go. How do the menus work, you know? How does the customization of the buttons work? Does it make me faster? Does it make me slower? How does it do for these YouTube videos? Because I'm gonna use it for that as well. So we'll see all of that and more. Oh, and the audio that you're hearing right now in this video is from the DJI 2.4 microphone system. I just recently picked that up, so we're gonna be testing that out on the channel to see how well it works for the various things that I do. And we can compare it to some of the other 2.4 gigahertz systems that I've tested on this channel as well. If you like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more videos just like this. And as always, I'm Mike Turner. Thanks for watching, and I guess I'll see you soon.